Hello again. Thank you for coming to visit this series of videos where I go through the Torbjörn Hultmark trumpet method. I've now come to the section in articulation which is called tongued articulation. If you watched the previous video, you will have seen that that was to do with the articulation in a context of slurred articulation, or articulated slurs as you might call it. If you haven't seen that video, please do so. Tongued articulation, and in a similar way to with the slur, I will get to the goal, and the goal is, in this case, is really clear, defined, tongued articulation. I will get to that goal very gradually, again starting with the basis of what brass playing is all about, and that is learning to control the airflow. So the first thing I will be doing is a breath articulation, followed by softly articulated but clearly articulated T, tongued notes. So I will be playing ha, ta, ta, very, very broadly, very joined together. It's much harder to tongue clearly if they're joined together, because you have to be very quick and very precise to be able to do it. And it ensures that we don't block the air, we don't tighten the air. So I will be articulating ha, ta, ta. Breath articulation on the first note, the subsequent notes are tongued. Next one, I've got two notes, breath articulated and tongued, but I've moved them a bit closer. They were a beat or a crotchet or a quarter note apart, in that case, ta, ta, ta. Now they are a quaver or an eighth note apart, ha, ta, with the first one breath articulated, the second one tongued. You will see the point of this eventually in a minute, because there's a progression that will become clear. So ha ta, ha ta. The next one, I will bring them to a semi-quaver close, 16th note, ha ta, with the breath attack still on the first one, but in this case a strongly accented breath attack, followed by a piano tongued note, ha ta, ha ta. And always joined together, ha ta, no gaps between. Next one, and this is the penultimate before the final goal of really clearly articulated ta. This one is a grace note leading in to the main articulated, tongued and accented note, like this, ha ta. So the grace note is a breath articulated note. The main note is a tongue note, and a very strong one. Ha ta, ha ta, and as close together as I can get them. And if your tongue blocks the air in any way at all, you wouldn't be able to do that. Ha ta, it would come a ha ta, a little bit like that. So that's a very important stage. Then finally, I put them together. So I've gradually approached the breath articulation and the tongue note a bit of a distance apart, and then gradually bringing them closer and closer together. Now the breath articulation and the tongue note are at the same time, or in other words, it's really just a a tongued note with a really good gust of air with it. Like that. So it's quite an extreme tongued articulation, but it's easy to go back from there. The difficult thing is to do the extreme thing. If you can do the extreme thing, then you can just do an ordinary articulation as well. Thank you for watching, and please watch the next video in this series.